We have dogs that are regulars that then figure out how to push the button on their own with either their nose or their paw. They can get up and do it. And I think it's just the cutest thing. It's just unbelievable to watch these dogs do it all day long, over and over and over.
So you got the park, the bakery,
Yeah.
the boutique, the dog wash. What's coming up next?
Oh gosh, I don't know. That's a lot.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to this episode of Dog Mom Podcast. Today, we have another very special guest, April from Muttz, El Paso. She has an incredible story, and I can't wait to dive in and share with you all. So, thank you so much, April, for joining us today.
Yeah.
I know
Thank you, Jen.
we talked a little bit before about, your story and how you started Muttz El Paso. So can you give us a brief overview of who you are and what's Muttz?
Yeah, sure. So thank you for having me on. I'm excited to be a part of this podcast. I feel like a story to tell, and I am a dog mom, and so lots to talk about. I started the business during COVID because I had a prior job to this where I was in the corporate world. And when, the world went upside down, everybody started reevaluating, what do I do? What should I do with my life? And one of my things was that I never wanted to leave my dogs again. I had left them for a 3-year period when I went overseas, and I left a piece of my heart, when I left my dogs. And so when I came home, I said, well, what can I do that would allow me to be with my dogs and also, build a business and a career? I remembered this place that I absolutely love to go to, which was Muttz, and it was in Dallas, Texas. And I used to be a patron of it. And it was this magical, little dog park that you could go to, and you would bring your dogs and you could have snacks and drinks and hang out with other dog parents. And so when I got home, I said, I think I want to do this in my city. So, I kind of fell into that and was able to open one in El Paso.
Yeah, that's amazing. I feel like my team knows this, but I've always wanted to have a physical retail location somewhere. We sell ZippyPaws toys online, but I just always think it would be so cool to have a little spot that we can host events, and then we can sell
Mm-hmm.
things. You can do like seminars or something. And then
Mm-hmm.
also, of course, you got to have some drinks and snacks.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I feel like
Yes.
you're living the dream out there.
We're definitely trying to. It's within our first year and a half of business, and we have evolved and grown. And, we started as the dog park bar. And since then, I've added in a boutique, we've added in daycare, I've purchased a bakery that I acquired for dogs now. And so our offering is so much more than what it started about a year and a half ago.
Yeah, and that's actually amazing that you've able to add so much in. I mean, a year and a half is a very short amount of time.
It was kind of by necessity. You get to a point in business where you kind of are looking at your numbers and you're looking at things going, okay, this was my dream and I knew it was going to work 100,000%. And maybe it wasn't, it wasn't exactly going the direction you wanted it to. And so I had to start looking at, my business side of things and what are other ways I can get, revenue streams in, but still stay true to what Muttz was and, the dog community. And so adding that daycare was kind of a no-brainer, but the bakery was the fun part of it, a
Mhm.
dog bakery. I make cookies and cupcakes and cupcakes and birthday cakes and all kinds of stuff for dogs now. And I would have never even imagined going that route before.
Yeah, because I'm thinking, as a physical location, there's only so many people that you can bring in, right? It's kind of
Mm-hmm.
limited because, geographically, there's so many people. I mean, you can do a lot of advertising in your local area to get people to come in or different events for them to come in, but I
Mm-hmm.
mean, you are limited. So I guess the way to expand your revenue stream is to like when they come they spend more at your
Yes.
location. So maybe,
Yeah.
yeah, if they have, dog's birthday's coming up, they're buying
Yeah.
like gifts and then
Yes.
treats,
It's definitely
edibles.
like a
Yeah.
captive audience, right? And so once you get them there, it's like, how do you get them to spend, all the things instead of just, the one drink or whatever they were going to have? And I think that was something that I realized kind of early on was like, oh, one drink and one, nacho isn't really going to cut it. Let's see what
Right,
else we
right,
can bring in. And so, yeah,
right.
definitely using that captive audience of like, okay, let's sell them a toy and some clothing and a birthday package. That was helpful.
Yeah, and you mentioned, I think before you were doing like a dog wash, so maybe a daycare and a wash. So they go home nice and fresh, maybe pick up a little grooming supply here or there, just to, just pamper your dog. And it's a
Yeah.
dog's day, and you get everything that you need for your dog. So,
So we have a splash pad in El Paso because obviously it's warm, it's hot. We're in the desert, and so we have this water feature that the dogs play in all day long. And we added that wash station for that reason because who wants a wet, gross, dirty dog to go home in your car, right? And
yeah.
so now we have these extra supplies of like here's your shampoo, and you can do a little bit of conditioning, and if you didn't bring a towel, you can rent one from us. And so we're trying to make the experience a little bit seamless and easy for the dog owners once they get there, that if they are playing and getting dirty, that they're not going home that way either.
Right, right. So they know if they drop off their dog, they're taken care of and
Hmm.
they're picking up a nice, fresh, fresh
Fresh, cleaned up.
smelling.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
Yes.
don't want that wet dog smell in the back seat, right? That's gonna stay
No,
for
no.
days.
That's funny. That's one thing I had thought about is adding on additionally is that on the weekends, maybe have like a detailer on site. And
Mm,
so someone that could like quickly just kind of get all the fur and hair out of your car, just an inside type detail. So when you're inside having drinks and hanging out, someone could quickly be like taking care of your car for you.
Oh,
So it's just another
amazing.
light bulb idea that I had one
Yeah.
night going like that could be something.
I mean, amazing because you wanna do all the chores at once, right? That would be
Yeah.
awesome. When you said detailing, I thought you were, like, talking about detailing the dog, so I was like, "Oh,
No.
maybe they're trimming the pad fur or something like that."
We
I'm like,
do have
"That
that
works."
too. We do bring in some groomers to help us with that. But I was thinking, like, on the other side of, like, oh, well, the parents need the stuff too. I mean, that's why we have the bar, right? And so the dog parents can have something for themselves as well.
Yeah, for sure. So when you first said you were going to start a dog bar, what did your friends and family think? Were they excited about the idea? Were they just like, "Why are you venturing into pet? It seems like such a whole different avenue for you."
Ye- Yeah, I mean, yes and no. My background is food and beverage. And so that part of the restaurant side and the hospitality and the entertainment side that came naturally. But definitely the dog side, people were like, I don't get it. And the most people who were saying, I don't get it, were like the people who aren't dog parents.
Yes.
They didn't quite understand because me as a dog parent, I would go to the dog park and I'd be like bored and just sitting there and not talking to anybody and just kind of like, oh, why am I having to be here for the next hour and a half? But then when I found Muttz, it was like, oh, wow, I can come. I can bring friends. I can even bring my friends that don't have dogs and come hang out with me while I'm at the dog park. And so when I started to explain that to my friends and family, like, this is what it is, they were like, oh, we get it now. Okay, we see. So
Yeah.
it kind of was natural for me to move into my business, my own business, but definitely it's a very big undertaking, huge.
Yeah, for sure. Was there something that, you thought of before you started the business, but things have changed? Like you learn about, dog parents in your area or something like that?
It sounds crazy, and I wish I would have really thought about it. But so, like I said, I'm in the desert and we're in the heat. And I focused a lot on the building and like the aesthetics. Like you can see, like this, and it's like a great country club. But what I honestly did not consider was the actual weather piece of it. So,
Mm,
our dog park, everything is outside. And I really wish if I would have sat and thought about it for a minute, I probably would have enclosed my patio so that way, like when the heat did come, I would could have some like more, climate controlled area. also it gets cold in the desert. So in the winter
Mm-hmm.
time, if I could put a little bit more controlled with heaters and, keep it, a bit more elongated season than what it is currently. And so that's one piece I think that I really kind of kick myself for, that why didn't I think about the outside more? Why didn't I think about enclosing this more? So the goal is to get there.
Yeah. So did you build the building or so everything? So when you bought it, it was like a piece of land?
Yes, that's what was really crazy. I have never done development. I've never done anything before, right? And so I bought a flat, I'm not even gonna say flat. I bought just a crazy raw piece of land, and I had to put all the utilities in. I had to do all the site work. I built the building. I did all the aesthetic work. I mean, honestly, I did everything from the ground up. Like I said, there's a Muttz in Dallas, and in the beginning, I was part of a franchise and they somewhat guided us. But by the time we were opening, the franchise had already dissolved and kind of gone away, and we were on our own. But I had a blueprint of sorts, but nothing that was, a plug and play into El Paso. So I really had a huge learning curve on what I was doing.
Yeah. I mean, I can't imagine just having to even design. How big is the property?
So it's an acre and a half.
Acre and a
So
half. Yeah.
yeah, it's really big. The off leash large park is the biggest part of the whole thing. We have a smaller park that is just for like 30 pounds and under. We have a whole area, like what is this area with a big, huge yellow chair that is our like Instagram station area. And then we have the building, which is, a bar and a restaurant, and then a very huge 2,000 square foot patio that's outside. So I mean, I had it in my mind what I wanted, but I had to work with an architect and get all the nuts and bolts worked
Yeah,
out.
the
But
details. Yeah.
you don't know what you don't know, honestly. Like it just things would sneak up, and I'd be like, oh yeah, did not think about that. These small things, that cost a lot of money when you're doing construction. So it was a huge learning curve.
Yeah, I mean that's honestly really impressive, and it sounds like you kind of built a Disneyland for dogs. So
Yeah.
which element of your compound do you think is like your favorite or the most important to you?
Oh, it's hard to choose. I mean, it's honestly like when you build your own house, you love every part of it, right? You like thought about every little detail, and then there's things that you forgot about. But I think for me, the most fun part of Muttz is the splash pad, because it has water features, right? You push a button and it has like a bunch of different features with those splash and spray and whatnot. And the dogs love it, and they are just running through it and going crazy. And we have dogs that are regulars that then figure out how to push the button on their own with either their nose or their paw. They can get up and do it. And I think it's just the cutest thing. It's just unbelievable to watch these dogs do it all day long, over and over and over. They love
I'm
it.
I'm sure it feels really good in the heat too to
Oh
just be
yeah,
in there
yes.
in the water.
Yeah, and right now even, I mean, it's like in the 80s over here, and the dogs are still like into the evening playing in the water, doing all the stuff, they're the water babies for sure.
Yeah. I mean, I just think like running an operation like yours, you have to deal with a lot of insurance issues. Like, have you had an accident or incident, anything like that?
Thankfully, no, we haven't, because there's a few things that we have to mitigate that. The first thing is that I have an employee, they're called bark rangers. And
Mm,
so they're out, that's their job, they're on patrol. And typically, I look for an employee that has some like vet tech experience or some shelter experience or something like that, that can read dog body language. And
mm,
so
mhm.
they're out in the yard the entire time that dogs are in the yard. And so their whole job is to watch and to mitigate any situation that might come up, right? So the
Right.
dogs will play and they'll get rough and tumble, but if you're already like a dog person, you'll know that when the shackles go up or a different type of growl or just kind of the body language in their start to move, that something is about to happen.
Right.
And so they're there to get in the middle, start making the noise, clapping to break them up. And typically that's it. They, whatever was happening, they were distracted and now it's on to the next. So for the last year and a half, I would say we've had one minor scuffle with dogs, but nothing big. And so when it comes to the insurances, it's not anything different than having like a grooming place or, anything else that is pet related, because we do have those procedures in place to make sure something doesn't happen.
Yeah, I didn't think about that. That's actually really smart to have people who
Yeah.
are really like dog people and really inclined to see those. I feel like my
Mhm.
husband is like one of those people who is like just
Mhm.
like a dog whisperer, right? We'll make dogs
Mhm.
do things where I'm trying to get my dogs to do something and then they always listen to him more than me.
Yes, yes, yes.
So you
There's
need like
always the
those type of
alpha.
yes, so you need
Yes.
somebody like that to kind of set the tone and yeah.
Absolutely. And the cool thing about it is because it's privately owned park, right? So there's either a day pass or a membership. So the type of pet parent that is going to the park is more inclined to really pay attention to their dog, to get involved. So even if something is happening across the yard, if their dog is involved, typically the pet parent will be like one of the other first people that is like running towards the situation to say like, hey, what are you doing? What's going on?
Right.
As when you go to a public park, it's kind of like a free for all. Like you don't know what you're gonna get in there, and there's
Yes.
no rules, So
Yeah.
it's like it's a whole different vibe at my park.
Oh, okay, got it. Yeah, I mean, that's nice because sometimes at the dog park, these people think that their dog can do no wrong and
Yes,
your
yes,
dog is the aggressor. And I'm like, my dog didn't do anything. Were you watching?
right,
And,
yes,
obviously they don't care. So it's good to hear
no.
that your patrons are, they're responsible pet parents, which is great.
We have a three strike rule too. So we always say like, not every dog will go up on the right side of the bed with every dog. So sometimes they get into like little situations. We go and we leash them because it's an acre. We walk them around the park. We kind of distract them. Okay, you're good. Let's go play again. They do something, weird again. Maybe they're humping somebody this time. Okay, we leash them one more time. On the third time, that's when we then ask the parents, okay, if you could please move to the patio and keep the dog on the leash for the rest of the time, this is what we would need for you to do. So we're always making sure our patrons are safe, our dogs are safe, our employees are safe. Like that's our number one thing out there.
Awesome. So for a lot of small companies, like, my company in the beginning, cash flow is always like
Oh,
the
yeah.
biggest hurdle. Um,
Hmm.
how is that for you? And, what are you doing to make sure that you're always, in the doing well?
We're yeah, we're trying our best. Cash flow it's hard, especially with this economy the way that it's been, and the cost of food and the cost of alcohol and all those things. But like I said in the beginning, it's like I realized early on that just having the bar and the restaurant part of it probably wasn't going to make enough money to sustain something this big. Even the membership portion of it, I think I was hopeful, or maybe had a little bit of the idea that yes, everybody's going to buy a membership, but no, everybody wants to do a day pass and check it out first and then decide if they want a membership. So that was one
Right.
of the things we kind of adjusted, was like, oh yes, do a day pass. But adding the daycare, adding the boutique, adding the all the things, the bakery, that's helped cash flow go positive. The other thing that I hadn't thought about and I started to do now was private events. And it's private events with vet clinics and with different rescues and associations and people that want to have their, fundraising gala or whatever. We're able to do that because we are the dog, centric place. So it
Yeah.
makes sense to do it at our spot.
No, that's a great idea. And
Hmm.
for example, if like a company like ours wants to do a party and we want to bring all the
Yes.
dogs,
Yes.
or we want to do for a 10-year anniversary a few years ago, we had like an Instagram event. We rented out like a space, an event space, and then there was
Yeah.
like an inside and outside, and then we had like
Hmm.
pizza trucks on the outside, and then
Hmm.
we invited some of our ambassadors and local Instagram dogs to attend. So I feel like that would be something that you could do as well, is to have these private events or where people could bring dogs and it's kind of like
Absolutely.
you know, dog
Yeah, we've been
friendly.
trying to reach out to larger corporations too, because lately it seems that one of the perks that large corporations are offering is the pet insurance. And so
Mhm.
kind of like along with that, okay, if you're going to get pet insurance, why don't you also give like a perk for the employees to hang out with their pets? And so that's the newest thing that I've been trying to do,
Oh,
is to
that's a
capture,
great idea.
that
Mhm.
audience of like, here's some corporate ticket, you dole them out to your employees as you see fit, and we can just go from there. So and there's a lot of like car dealerships that would give out, if you come drive the car, here's a free pass to Muttz or something like that. So that's my next idea and iteration. I'm always up late thinking about something.
That's awesome. I love these, like, late night brainstorm sessions,
Yes.
preferably over a drink, and
Yes.
but
Sometimes it's middle of the night dreaming and I wake up like, oh, let me write this down really fast. That was a good idea.
yeah, that's awesome, yeah. Oh, when I wake up, like, my dream fades so fast that if I don't
Yes.
think about it a few more times, then it just
Yes.
goes into the ether, and I don't know what I was dreaming about, but I
I
know it
have
was a
a
great idea.
Yeah, exactly. I have a notepad right there just for that reason. So
Awesome. And it's just really cool to see what you've built, and you bring some, you know, dog community into your local area, and that's something that I've always wanted to do too. So it's great to see that you're doing something like that, and I hope that in the future I can also do it in my area, and
yeah.
maybe on a smaller scale, maybe not an acre and
Yes.
a half in Los Angeles.
Yes, that's a lot.
But there are some really cool spots in LA,
Hmm.
like the Dog People in Santa
Yes.
Monica.
I
And
love that place. Hmm.
yeah, and I can't remember the name of it, but it was in like Highland Park when I lived a little bit closer. There's like a little cafe that's
Hmm.
open for dogs, so people can go there and like hang out. But really cool what you've done. So you got the park, the bakery,
Yeah.
the boutique, the dog wash. What's coming up next?
Oh gosh, I don't know. That's a lot. You know what? You know what I like though is that this allows me to expand my reach more into like the rescue community.
Mhm.
So all of my dogs I've ever had have been rescues, and I feel really passionate about that. The backyard breeders and all that stuff. Like you need to adopt. I mean, honestly, there are so many cute and loving dogs out there that deserve a home, and so being this dog location has allowed me to kind of tap into that community and rescue side of things and really give back. So most all of our events are centered around a rescue, and a portion of the proceeds would go back to the rescue. And so I just feel like, as we become more successful, we can have larger events that will allow for more give back to our community. And that's kind of what I see as the next thing. Like, I love to do something like that and be able to say, okay, let's have a dog day out for all the rescues and let them just, run and do whatever they need to do at the park.
Yeah, and that kind of goes into like a question I wanted to ask you was like what is your definition of like success for Muttz, right? And is it to give back to the community, to the shelters, as you said, or how do you see success?
I mean, really, that's like a hard question for a business person, right? Because you want to say if you're constantly seeing positive cash flow, you're successful. But I think that has to go hand in hand with that you still love what you're doing, that you're passionate about it, that you're able to make a difference in your community. I think it's like three pronged, right? If you don't have enough money, then you're not able to give back enough. And if you're not passionate about it, you're probably not going to make money. So it's just like a cycle, circle and centric of like, to be successful, all of these things need to be in place. So that's kind of what I feel like I'm moving towards all those goals. I'm very passionate about what I'm doing. We've started to really infiltrate, I feel, the community. And so I think the cash flow and revenue side then comes.
I hear you. And, next year is my 15-year anniversary working on
Oh wow.
ZippyPaws. So it's been like in my entire adult life I've been doing this.
Mhm.
And, the passion is always there. But I feel like my energy level ebbs and flows. So some months I'm like
Yeah.
in it,
Mhm.
I'm
Mhm.
totally on top of things. And then
Mhm.
there may be a 2-3 months where I just get a little overwhelmed, or
Mhm.
things are not going as well as I thought they would be. The economy's not doing
Mhm.
well.
Mhm.
Just lots of things that go on, and you think, well, is that success? And I feel like that is part of the success, right? Is as you get to the next level, there's always more success, more money, and also more problems.
Problems.
Yes,
Yeah.
and, when you get there, I just, thought about this the other day too, because I've been doing a little bit of soul searching about what I
Yeah.
want the next 15 years to look like.
Uh-huh.
And then you think, "Oh, well, you've accomplished this much, but did you take time to enjoy all that?"
Enjoy it.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and you gotta soak it up
Mhm.
every day, and maybe not just move on to the next goal,
Yes.
immediately, and, just kind of be in that plateau for a little bit and
Yes.
enjoy that. So, that's what
You know
I've
what?
come to, yeah.
I agree with that wholeheartedly, and especially, I don't know, I feel like with women, they're always saying, "What's next? What else can you do? Push, 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 push." Because to be in the group with the big boys, you have to always be a little bit more than what they are. And I think it's okay to enjoy what you're doing and just say, you know what, I don't have to compete with that, or I don't have to do that. I'm happy with where I'm at currently. I think that's a hard thing and a big thing for probably women of our age to be able to say, like, it's enough. I'm good.
Yes.
It's enough right here.
Yeah, and I don't want to necessarily, my kids are young, so obviously I spend a lot of time with them, and I want to spend their, youth with them.
Yes.
So it's
Yes.
fine for me if I'm not in this store that I really want to be in, or if I'm not
Mhm.
in, three more countries that I want to be in, right?
Right.
So maybe that time will come in maybe 5-10 years. I will want to
Exactly.
work on that,
Mhm.
but I think right now I'm happy where I'm at, and I it's comfortable, right? Because when
Yes.
you're trying to
Yes.
grow so much, you have to put a lot of your own money,
Yes.
into it, and
Yes.
for me, it is scary to put a lot of money in inventory, right?
Mhm.
That's where my
Mhm.
cash flow is tied up in most.
Mhm.
You stock up your warehouse, and you don't have too much
Yeah.
money, and it's a little bit stressful, and then you have more employees, and
Yes.
the money is tied up there, right? So yeah, I feel like I'm in that zone where I'm just coasting for a little bit. So yeah.
I think that's fine. I mean, honestly, owning a business is like riding a roller coaster. You're constantly like, "Oh my gosh, it's to the peak," and then you get to the peak, and then, "Oh my god, I'm going down, and I'm back up." It's not for the faint of heart. Really, it's not. It's
Yeah.
a very interesting situation. I mean, this is the first time I've ever owned my own business. I've always worked for someone in a high caliber, big corporation business, and it's very different when it's your money and it's your problems and your things. So
Yeah.
yeah,
And
you
you
definitely
can't
hang on for the ride.
right, and you can't blame anybody other than
Yes.
yourself. And
Yes.
even if it's
Yes.
not your fault, you're still the
Yes.
one to fix it.
Yes. Well, I will say, having a good team does allow you to kind of enjoy the moments. I would say for the first year, maybe even 9 months, I was doing everything myself, everything. And I got to the point where I was like, I can't be the general manager, and I can't be the social media person, and I can't be the bookkeeper. I just couldn't. It was killing me. And I wasn't happy about it. I'm stressed out every night. And so as I started to just realize and let go a little bit of like, okay, I need to delegate this out and get a team around me, even though maybe it will cost me a little bit more money. In the long run, it was so much better. And it
Mhm.
allowed me to enjoy my business a little bit more and, actually probably was making better decisions because I wasn't so stressed and tired. So having a good team is super important.
Yeah, 100%. And some of those people, I'm sure, are probably better than you at a specific thing. So you can
Oh,
just
absolutely.
let them
Yes.
cook.
Yes.
I,
Yes.
when I was doing everything myself in the beginning, you just do the minimum, right? And obviously there's things that I'm good at, so I keep doing those things, and the things I'm not good
Hmm.
at, I just hire somebody else who's good at that thing, and then they know way more than I do. And I'm like, okay,
Yes.
you handle that.
Yes. Yeah, totally. that's a learning curve though, because if you're
Yes.
not, like for me anyways, I was very type A and controlled, and I was like, I did certain things a certain way, but at some point you have to just let it go. You just have to say, okay, they know what they're doing. They're better than me. That's their expertise, and please help me.
That's awesome. Is there anything else that you want to talk about?
I don't know. I just think that the other passion of mine is just women in business in general. I mean, I think that sometimes it's difficult for us, and like I had said before, we're in a room of men and we're trying to prove ourselves. And I think the biggest takeaway that I found is just believe in yourself and have confidence in yourself. Like, we probably are very good at what we do and we know what we're talking about, but sometimes people will come in and make you feel diminished because they have a bigger presence or stance than you do. And I've just had to learn to not take that into account and believe that I know what I'm talking about and stand firm. And I think, building your own building and dealing with general contractors and all of these things that really, taught me some lessons of that you do know what you're talking about and stand up for yourself and just, say it. So I would say that's one of the big things for me, mentor and educate and help women to come up to the next level, pull
Yeah.
pull the next one through.
100%, yes, and that's, one of the reasons why I started this podcast is so I can interview people who are doing amazing things, in the pet industry that is, that's not something that I know about, right? Like, I don't know how to build a
Yeah,
building and pull
yeah,
permits
yeah,
and zoning laws and
yeah.
all that, so
Mhm.
it's really interesting to hear, what you have done, and you've been successful, and, I wanna pull you up with me, and
Right.
hopefully, we can in the future work together on something, maybe in an event. That would
Yes,
be really awesome.
absolutely.
And I totally agree with you that, you know, when you're starting a business, um, it's especially for me because I'm such a soft spoken person that I tend to like not say what's on my mind. I kind of just like stay
Mhm.
back, and then maybe later I'm like, oh, that would have been a great comeback. And I didn't say it
Yeah.
at the time. I'm like, oh, darn.
Yeah.
But now with time and experience, I
Mhm.
do stand up for myself a lot more. But
Mhm.
always in the back of my mind, I know it's like what you got, what you're worth. So
Yes, yes.
it doesn't necessarily matter what other people say. It's just this is how I'm running my business. And I've had people that come up to me at the trade shows and tell me that I'm running my business the wrong way, like to my face. I don't. This is so weird. Like I don't know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
If I run my business like this, I'm not gonna be here in 5 years. And then it's funny because they come back to my booth every year after that, and it's like, oh, your
Yes,
products are doing great in my store. I'm like, oh, I'm
yes.
glad to hear that. I'm glad
Yes.
that we're doing well for you. So some people
Yeah.
just don't know what they're talking about either, right?
Yeah.
They just want to put you down for whatever reason, and it doesn't have anything to do with me. It's just whatever they're
Jealousy
thinking.
is a funny thing. I really
I'm
always
not.
think that jealousy is a funny thing. It'll make people say and do funny things, and that's just one thing that I'm not. I am very confident in who I am, and so, if other people want to act that way, that's fine, but I don't need to. Yeah.
That's kind of my approach too. It's whatever they want to say to me is just it's just on them, right?
Yeah.
And I can
Mhm.
take the advice, if they say, "Hey, I
Yep.
don't think that you
Mhm.
should run your business this way because X, Y, and Z," and I can take it and think
Mhm.
about it. If
Sure.
it
Mhm.
applies, I can, change my
Great.
ways, and if not, it's
Mhm.
just that's
Yes.
okay.
Yes, exactly. But you know what? I think that's learned, and that is a definitely learned habit and approach and
Yeah.
style. And it took me a while to get there, but
No,
yeah, now I'm there too.
yeah, in the beginning, it is difficult because, it's so hard to put yourself out there, right? And it's your baby.
Hmm. Yes.
So, for me, my designs, my toys are like I design them, they're my baby. And for
Yes.
somebody to say, oh, they're,
Critique. Yeah.
yes, I'm like,
Yes.
okay, well, It kind of stabs you a little bit. So I'm sure if like
Yes.
somebody's talking about how you're running things, you're like, well,
Oh man, all the time. If someone has an opinion on what they would do better, how they would build it better, I would do it like this, and I just say, okay, thank you. Yeah,
yeah.
great. Let's see you put a 1.5 acre building together. That's okay.
Yeah.
Let's
And
see.
sometimes it is just how people communicate. I've had
Mhm.
people come up to me and like, when I have twins, so everybody when I go out, everybody has an opinion on twins and they just
Mhm.
kind of like
Mhm.
talk to you and just add in their thoughts and their feedback and then their experiences. And sometimes it is a kind of annoying, but sometimes you think, oh, they're trying to connect, right?
Connect. Yeah,
They're
they're
trying
trying
to
to connect
connect,
in some way. Mhm.
and maybe their approach is to neg you about something,
Mhm.
and that's just their way of opening
Yep.
up that communication. So all good.
Yeah, totally. So somebody wanted to come say hi.
Oh, hi.
This is my little baby Louie.
Oh my
So
gosh,
I,
he's so cute.
I adopted him recently at one of our events. We did puppy yoga. And so we it's a play on goat yoga, right? And so we have puppies that come out from the rescue and we do yoga and then hopefully someone gets adopted. Well, he came home with me. So I adopted my other dog. Her name is Coco at one of our events as well. So my boyfriend's like, please, no more dogs, no more events, please.
No more events because you're gonna end
Yes.
up with a third one. So
Yes, exactly. But yeah, that's one of the fun things that, we get to do at Muttz as well.
that's that's awesome. And I wish you a lot of success. And like I said, I really
Thank
want to do
you.
an event out there. We'll email
Absolutely.
and we'll
Yes.
see. I've never
Yes,
been to
thank you.
Texas, so I do really want to
Come
make
on.
make a trip out
Yeah.
there.
Well, we're on the way corner of Texas. It's more New Mexico than Texas, but yeah,
Okay.
we'll show you around for sure.
So it's a little bit closer than I was thinking. So that's awesome.
Yeah, oh yeah, it's way closer. It's literally on the border of New Mexico and Texas. So the drive, would probably be about 10, 11 hours. Flight 3 hours. Very easy.
Awesome, awesome. And so thank you so much for being on the
Thank
show.
you,
I
Jen.
I had a blast talking with you, and
Me too. Me too.
for our friends and listeners who are in Texas, get out to Mutt's and,
Yes.
have a drink and stay a little while. So thank you so much for being on the show,
Thank
and
you.
we'll see you next time.
All right, Jen. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.